Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's story Triplets, by Olivia Julius. Chapter 1 Trouble. I was startled awake by my mother's voice as she yelled from downstairs in the living room. I could still hear the anger in her voice and I knew that her mood wasn't going to improve anytime soon. I quickly sprang up from my bed and walked to my door, still thinking about what had happened to put me into this mess. I still didn't have a defense yet and I knew that my butt was really in trouble. An hour ago I was caught in my sister Amanda's room by her twin sister Amy. I tried to get her to be quiet about her discovery, but Amy has never really been known to keep secrets, especially if it dealt with me getting into huge trouble with Mom. I guess I can't really blame them. I have always wondered about girls' clothes and how they felt to be worn, but unfortunately I have never been able to answer my questions since the twins were 6 years younger than me and their clothes were way too small for me. But it didn't make me stop wondering. Last week Amanda wore a beautiful baby blue dress that had blue flowers embroidered on the top half of it to our man sweating, and the whole time I wondered how the dress would look on me or even how the white sandals would look. Of course I couldn't wear them, so I had to put them next to me in front of me as I stood in front of the mirror. And as you can guess, that was when I was caught. I now had to face up to the fact that I had been caught. This time I was caught red-handed and there was nothing I could do about it. Evidently there was no way I could like to get out of this mess, since there was no reason that I should be having a dress at all. I mean, I don't wish I was a girl and I definitely don't want to wear a dress or any girly clothes out in public. All I wanted to do was know how it felt to wear some of the clothes the girls get to wear. I mean, it just isn't fair. During the wedding I was hot and sweating like crazy because I was having to wear a long-sleeve button-up shirt with a black suit jacket while the girls wore sleeveless dresses and sandals. They didn't seem too uncomfortable sitting out in the hot July heat, and it was just because they were allowed to wear dresses and not a hot old suit like mine. At once the thought hit me as I left the room that sent me back to the present. Tomorrow is supposed to be the start of our 4-day vacation and I was really looking forward to spending 4 days on the beaches of Florida. Was this going to end now that I was caught? I walked downstairs to see my mom and my 2 sisters sitting on the couch facing an old empty armchair as they waited for me to come down. They didn't move or look away from each other as I started to walk down the staircase, and I knew that this was going to be bad. Different scenarios played in my head as I thought about what was going to happen to me. Once I got into the living room, Mom finally acknowledged that I was there. She didn't show any emotion as she pointed to the armchair. I quickly sat down in it and watched my mother and my sisters for any hint of what was in store for me. I quickly ran through the normal punishments like, no TV for a week and no contact with the outside world for a month. The punishments went more crazier the longer as I thought about it. Of course, in the back of my head, I could always see the vacation being cancelled or my mother deciding that I had to spend the week at the house while her and the twins went out to have a good time without me. Mom leaned forward in her seat. She still had the stern look in her eyes and I knew that I wasn't going to get out of this one alive. So I mentally kissed the white sandy beaches and the great fun of Disneyland goodbye forever. Ethan, Mom said, snapping me out of my thoughts. I realize it now that I had slowly drifted away while she spoke to me about how it was bad to take my sister's things, even though I have never taken anything outside of either twins' room. I know, Mom, I said, acting like I had at least paid a small amount of attention. I could see Mom's face relax a little as she smiled down to me. Your sisters and I have come up with your new punishment, Mom said. I looked down at the floor as I prayed that Mom wouldn't take the trip to Florida away from me. I looked at my sisters for any kind of hint, but their facial expressions were blank and not revealing any hints to me. What is it, Mom? I asked, taking a breath as I prepared myself mentally for what might happen. Mom grabbed an old plastic grocery bag from behind her chair and tossed it to me. I cautiously took the bag, started to open the loose knot at the top of the bag. I already knew that it felt like a piece of clothing, but I couldn't see what it was. I looked around before putting my hand into the bag. I could see the twins itching for me to pull out the item. They looked like they were ready to pounce when I did. I slowly grabbed the gift and pulled it out of the bag without looking. I was scared about what the girls and my mother could have given me. But somehow I already knew what they gave me. I could put 2 and 2 together, and with every slow moment that the equation was forming together. By the time I pulled out the item I already knew that it was. It was a girl's one-piece swimsuit that I had seen Amy wear so many times before. It was pink with purple vertical stripes all the way around the suit. The straps to the suit were spaghetti straps that formed in the back to make an X. I looked up in surprise as the twins started to giggle at me. "What's this for?" I asked. Mom smiled a little and took the swimsuit from my hands. "Well, Ethan, this is for you so you can wear it while we're in Florida," Mom said. I looked at her with a puzzled face. "But I'm not a girl and I can never fit it," I said, but I already knew what was going to happen next. I already knew what was going to come out of my mother's mouth before she ever said anything. Mom pulled out a book from behind her and set it on the table. My eyes widened when I saw it and I could feel my heart shrink as the girls started to laugh uncontrollably. "You will," Mom said. "You definitely will." Chapter 2 Spell. "Wait Mom, you can't do this to me," I said, trying to keep her from opening the pages in her book. Mom looked up in amazement and smiled a little. "And why not, young lady?" she asked as she started to turn the pages to the book. To be honest, I was so thrown off by her calling me a young lady that I couldn't really think of a good excuse, and Mom just smiled as she turned to the right page. I started to turn and run back to the safety of my own bedroom, but I could hear Mom softly whisper to herself and my feet became stuck to the ground. "Please Mom, please don't do this to me," I begged, but Mom just kept whispering softly to herself as she read in the book. I tried to get away, but I couldn't move my feet. It was as if my feet was just glued to the wooden floor. The twins stopped laughing as the spell started to work on me. I looked down and I could see my black Nikes start to turn white. I tried again in vain to be able to move my feet in terror, but they were just stuck in place. The shoes started to turn and the holes started to grow from the sides and I could feel my socks to disappear. At the same time my feet started to shrink down to the same size as the twins. Once my shoes became sandals that looked mostly like the sandals that Amanda had on during the wedding, my legs started to change. As the magic worked its way up my legs, I could see them getting skinnier as all the hair disappeared. As the magic reached my shorts I was wearing, they started to fuse together, forming a skirt. I tried to raise the bottom of my shirt up, but I couldn't because it felt like the shirt and the newly formed skirt was stuck together. "Mom, please stop, I'll do anything else," I pleaded, but Mom just continued to whisper to herself as she ignored me. The skirt started to change to a light baby blue color as the fabric turned from denim to lace. I could see what they were doing to me and all I wanted was for them to stop. Not only was I going to turn into a girl, but they were forcing me into the exact outfit that I was looking at in Amanda's room. Once it went up to my boxers I could feel them shrink and form little girls' panties. Plus, I could feel my penis start to shrink and go inside my body to form a girl's slit. By now I was half girl and half boy, and I wished with everything that I loved that Mom would stop and take pity on her only son. I could feel my insides start to twist and turn as my slight chubby frame became smaller and flatter. My shirt started to change the material and color to match the skirt. A small sash showed up and magically tied around my back. Also a zipper showed up as the dress got tied around me. The sleeves on the dress started to shrink into the dress until I was left with a sleeveless dress. Also embroidered flowers started to make their way down the top half of the dress. I continued to shrink down to the twin size. I could see the world around me get larger and bigger. I was more than halfway done, but already I could feel helpless and scared in my new position. I mean, before I could handle myself in a fight. Now, however, I probably couldn't win a fight against a teddy bear. I looked at my hands as they began to get skinny and hairless, and as my fingers started to shrink down, my nails started to grow a little and turn a light blue, just like how Amanda had her nails painted at the wedding. As soon as my body and my clothes got changed, I could feel my head start to shrink and rearrange itself to fit more as a little girl's head than a teenage boy's. I tried to make another plea for Mom to stop, but when I tried to say please my voice jumped pitch and I ended up sounding just like a little girl. All at once my dark brown hair grew even more out of my head, and as it grew I could feel it start to get tied up in a little hair tie with a white bow. I could feel my hair brush the back of my back, and I knew that I had Amanda's hair length since Amy didn't like her hair past her shoulders. I opened my eyes since I had closed them to stop myself from seeing myself morph into a girl. I was finished and really freaked out. Even though the adults in our family have the magical powers, I have never thought that I would ever have to live any day as a 10-year-old girl. The twins jumped up from the couch and ran to me. They started talking at once as they told me about how we were going to have so much fun in Florida, but all I wanted to do was become a 16-year-old boy again. Mom took me to the bathroom where a full-length mirror was hung on the door. I was told to keep my eyes closed as Mom positioned me correctly so I could see my new body in the right way. Even standing still I could feel the dress sway around my legs as I walked, and I couldn't help but like the movement even if it did feel wired to my male brain. I was forced to play along, but what I really wanted was to go back to my room, throw off these clothes and hide under my bed until Mom was willing to change me back. "Okay Ethan, on the count of 3, open your eyes," Mom said with her hands on my shoulders. I really didn't want to see my reflection, but I decided to play along to keep her happy. "Okay Ethan, 1, 2, 3, open them," she said in the same annoying voice. I slowly opened my eyes and saw a girl standing in front of me. It took me a moment to realize that the girl in front of me was really me. The girl in front of me didn't look like me when I was that age, but instead I looked just like the two twins. I stood there in awe as my mind went though about what was going on. "You look just like Amy and I," Amanda said, grabbing both of us in each arm. I looked up at Mom, but she just smiled down at the three of us. "Yes, you girls are now my little triplets," she said, wrapping Amanda, Amy and I into a huge hug.